the people that are leading those trainings, but then also all of the little tidbits that Sam has to share in those calls are just always motivating. I love hearing, Sam, I love hearing your perspective on the opportunity that we all have right now to be a part of Zaya. And so to be able to have this time with you tonight, we so appreciate it. And I think this is a really good opportunity for our girls. We have a lot of, clearly a lot of people have joined tonight. So exciting to see so much engagement. Our team has had an amazing month. And I think that we have such a fun and a fun community within our team. And we've done a lot of, I think, we have a lot of really great chats. This month we had our mega party, which was super fun. And we're seeing a lot of girls really developing, getting to those higher ranks, and just their volumes each month are so great. And there's a lot of ambition and leaders developing. So I think this is a really great opportunity to have this time with you. And to hear any tidbits or any things you would like to share with our team, we are just ready to soak it all up. So I guess we did chat a little bit about some questions, and some of the things were just about keeping momentum, staying consistent, being okay with being uncomfortable, one of the quotes was, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And just, as we were we were just chatting about an abundant mindset and just all of those things. So anything you have to share with us, we are excited to take it all in.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen. And I'm impressed by your introduction. It was a very well done introduction, and I can already see that the abundant mindset is happening for you. And it's always fun to be able to see those kinds of things play out so quickly. I'm Sam Higginson. I'm a third-party consultant for Zaya Active, and I've been involved in the channel of direct sales now for 24 years, which ages me, and it makes me think. I used to think that was really cool to be able to say I was plus 20, and now I'm like, gosh, I wish I was plus 15, And the truth is, though, I've been around a lot of incredible companies and incredible marketing programs and product releases, international expansion. I've been fortunate to work all around the world and get to know, a lot of different leadership from a lot of different cultures. I've actually worked on every continent of the world in some kind of an executive sales role. And I have had a chance to really dive in and learn about what leaders do. The people, the Megan Batings of the world. And right, Kristen is one of those people that's on her way, that's making those kinds of strides to put herself in a category of that kind of leadership. And so I'm really excited. Any chance I get to have somebody who's genuinely interested in becoming that and becoming something, and being a part of something as exciting as Zaya Active is always a great opportunity for me. So I'm excited for you, Kristen. I'm excited for this team and for everything that's going on right now. But the truth is, in my 24 years of being involved in the channel, and by the way, I've worked with some incredible companies that, in the last opportunity that I had, I was over their national sales, the head of sales in that company, and we were doing about $1.5 billion in sales in revenue. And there were a lot of exciting things going on, and it was super fun to be a part of it. But I was so excited to be able to I love the channel way too much to just be all in for one brand, one company. But the truth is, my very first client was Zaya Active. When I went out on my own, when I hung my own shingle and said, hey, I want to consult for some companies, I want to do some private one-on-one coaching, Zaya Active was the first brand that really reached out to me. And I had a prior relationship with Jeremiah and Aaron. I had a prior relationship with Zach and Brenda. We actually worked together for 11 years. We built an international company and had a lot of success together doing that. But I have never in my 24 years been as excited as I am about a single brand as I am about Zaya Active right now, and everything that's happening, that's going on inside of our company. the ability that we had to have and see success in 2020, a year where, a lot of direct sales companies actually did experience some kind of success, especially in the springtime. But those companies had a hard time. Some of those companies had a hard time maintaining that kind of success, maintaining that growth. Zaya Active not only shifted into a whole nother gear, but the stride is just incredibly successful. And there's a lot of, key performing indicators and pieces of data that we are constantly looking at that are so exciting. Things like the number of 18 to 25-year-olds that are joining our company right now, the average ordership, the average order size for the events that we are hosting, the efficiency ratings across the board in those parties, the total number of parties being hosted, all kinds of incredible data that we are looking at, that just from an engagement standpoint, we are far from being a story of the past. We are actually creating the story of the future. And we have no idea where it's going to be in 2022, 2023. But the truth is, it's an exciting place to be. This is about as excited as I've ever been about a single brand. And I will say, for the record, I do not just represent one singular brand. I have an opportunity to work with all kinds of different companies inside of this channel. Most of my work is here at Zaya. And the truth is, it's because that's where I want it to be. I want to be able to say that I'm a part of this in every way that I possibly can. The selfish side of me wants to be able to tell people that I'm involved in Zaya Active right now, because it's an incredible thing. Everyone is talking about it. And last week, I took on a new client. I think it was sometime in the middle of January. And this group is, an amazingly talented, educated, experienced group of people. It's a company based in New York City. They have Harvard MBAs and Yale MBAs and NYU and all these incredible universities sitting around the table, virtually, of course, but sitting around this table talking about this brand. And they have all the infrastructure that you could imagine, all of the back office capabilities, all of the front office capabilities, the product line, the digital assets, all of the marketing, everything about it. And they don't have a single client. They don't have a single distributor. They don't have a single rep, single customer. That they're not there yet. They're kind of going through that process. It's a non-competitor to a brand like Zaya, but they, in their research, they don't know anything about the channel of direct sales. And so they started looking around, and these are some of, like I say, the brightest people with unbelievable capital backing them. And they were desperate to find out everything they could about Zaya Active. And so it's really kind of fun to see that kind of, love and respect being thrown our way. But let's talk about why. I think tonight we should talk about why that's happening. Because the reality is, I think you guys all can see what's happening. And I think if you're alive right now and you have a pulse, you know that Zaya Active, there is no end in sight to the growth that we're going to experience in 2021, 2022, 2023. These are our brightest years. These are our golden era years that we'll talk about in 5, 10, 15 years from now. We're going to remember these moments, I promise you, as you're preparing for the worldwide global Zaya Active Base Camp kind of event, or the summit, whatever they call it at that point. I don't know. But when that happens, these will be the moments that you talk about, these little tiny calls that we were doing when Kristen Reese was just, running for executive, or double Zaya, or whatever, wherever you're at in your journey. Those are the moments that I think we will look back on and remember where we were at personally during these times. And so why is it happening for us? Hey, I said earlier that there was going to be some people showing up. I've got all this food for all these young kids. So I'm going to change my background and let these folks in, but give me 2 seconds. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, totally fine, Sam.
All right. Okay. So we're going to wait for him to come back. Sorry, guys. He just has to go feed this church group that's coming in. So Kristen, I don't know. Do you want to, what do you want to cover while we wait for Sam? Anything that you can think of at the top of your head?
Well, today I reached out to some of our directors and asked, what are some things that they would want to ask, or that we would just want to talk about. And some of the feedback that I've been getting lately is that people are loving our Dash to Director trainings and the, you know, the new rep trainings. But our team really hasn't done a lot of trainings just for the heck of it, you know, outside of those bigger team trainings. And some of the things that have come up are just, you know, concerns with like the market becoming saturated, if that's something we would address. And, you know, not like, because we know there's such a positive response to that and being able to share that. And being motivated, or keeping everybody motivated to be consistent, and how do we find that motivation for ourselves? And so I think, I don't know if that's something, you know, that you would talk on, or, you know, we can bring up with Sam once he's back, but those were some of the things that we just talked about today.
Okay, yeah. So the market saturation, let's bring that up with Sam, because he has such a good way of talking through that when everyone thinks things are saturated and how it's most definitely not. But on the keeping motivated, so I know that those of you that have been around through the holiday that we just experienced, so that is just kind of a known time, not just in the Zaya world, but kind of across the board in direct sales, that it's just a slower period of time because people are busy with holidays and they're not wanting to spend money. They're not wanting to ask other people to spend money because they know people are saving for the holidays. And so coming off of that into January is hard to get re-energized, to kind of refocus, to be motivated again, to kind of get yourself back to kind of where you were pre-holiday. Because I know December was kind of, everyone kind of felt deflated a little bit, that we kind of worked this, you know, awesome September and October, and then the holidays hit. But like Sam was kind of just sharing with us earlier tonight in a conversation, that, you know, January and February right now are already trending like what happened in 2020. And we had huge, like 400% growth in 2020. And it's looking to be the same, if not better, in 2021. So that right there motivates me so much, because I know what growth was experienced with this team, and not just myself, but so many of us on this team. And if that can happen again, that's such a huge motivator for me, because I know that it can happen for all of you as well. So, and I just see Sam pop back on, but so that's one thing. I know that coming off the holidays, it's hard, but we're already starting to feel that trending up, and so much excitement is going to happen from base camp, you guys. That first weekend in March, that is going to be huge. So if you can communicate with your teams now, if they're not registered, get registered, because there will be so much in excitement based off of that, that will be a lot of momentum that's going to carry through the rest of March and then months to come. So Sam, I'm going to turn it back over to you, because I just saw that.
Okay. So the question was about saturation. I think I heard you start, and then,
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
I said let Sam cover that, because you have such a great way of talking through that.
Well, I just, you know, one of the things that I will say regarding, and I honestly can't remember where I left off. I'm in a whole different room. And so I just wanted to, I don't remember where I left off. So if I was making a point, then make sure that you pop it in there, or Kristen, you come on and tell me here in a minute. But I will address the saturation question, because saturation is 100%, it's something that you're imagining, to be quite honest with you. The truth is, we are using third-party sources right now, third-party data sources, to help us understand who is buying in the prestige active care or prestige active wear world. So one of the things that we have to recognize is that we've been placed, and, you know, quite honestly, we are not the ones that place ourselves in a prestige active category. But the third-party sources, people like, I'm trying to think of their names right now, and it's just spaced me. Euromonitor, for instance. If you go to Euromonitor reporting, they are going to tell you that Zaya Active has been placed in the prestige activewear category. We're not in mass. We're not in economy. We're not I guess the mass would be considered like Walmart and places like that. we are in a prestige category. And so we're competing with the likes of like a Lululemon, who's also in that same category on the same report. And so when we look at saturation, we're basically going into a county. Let's take Los Angeles, for instance. Los Angeles County is, I think it's like the 4th largest state for Zaya, right? California is like the 4th largest state, which is really shocking considering how many people live there. But it's just starting to kind of grow and take off. But if you take Los Angeles County alone, if you look at how many people are actually purchasing prestige activewear, and if you were to just go out and do a phone survey, you would find out that 1 out of every 1,000 people have ever even heard of Zaya Active that are currently buying activewear, or prestige activewear. They've never even heard of us. And so there's literally hundreds of millions of dollars in one county here in the United States that have never heard of Zaya Active, and yet they're buying in the same category of activewear. So it's really kind of mind-blowing. And I think people get caught up in this whole idea of it's all relative to your current network. Whatever your Facebook page says to you is what you think. If everybody in your Facebook page or your Instagram page or whatever the platform that you're using seems to be, loving Zaya, that's where we start to build walls. We start to create limitations for what saturation really means. And the truth is, there are so many new platforms, right? I mean, you start to add in like TikTok, for instance. That's something that's kind of being used right now. And then Clubhouse Audio. I was telling the girls earlier tonight about this brand new app that I was asked to go live on last night. I had never even heard of it before, to be honest. Well, I'd heard of it, but I thought it was like a scam thing and I didn't even dare touch it. But now it's kind of becoming a thing where people are starting to create these entirely new networks based on these new platforms, these social platforms, these social selling. And that's who we are, right? We're a social seller. We are building through community. And so as our communities start to expand and grow, so too will our networks. They will continue to grow to infinity. I mean, it's incredible how really big they are if you continue to stay at the edge of your fire, meaning you're still the one doing the work. You're still willing to, like Megan, roll up your sleeves despite a presidential title, right? Despite being at the very top title in the company, still hosting the parties, still doing those invites and reaching out to people. Still trying to find efficiencies within your team and those parties that you're hosting. When you're doing that and staying at the edge of your fire, your network is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to thrive. And so saturation for me, it's literally not even a question that comes up in any of the meetings where we have experts, third-party experts that come into Zaya Active and sit around these boardrooms and talk about the future. We're not even talking about saturation even in the next decade. It's not even something that is even touching us right now in that regard. And so what we have to look at is who we're competing with. Who is it that we compete with, right? Look at Lulu's business. Look at Athleta's business, some of these other prestige activewear brands. That's who we're competing with. The only difference is that we provide a better level of customer service. We are the customer service. You all are the customer service, right? You are the people that are going to be able to sell a pair of leggings and follow up with that person in a week, find out what they really think of those leggings. So Megan, I want to share this too, because I know this is a little bit off the wall, but we've been doing these these studies. I may have talked to you about this already, but we've been doing these studies with customers that are joining that are joining Zaya Active right now. That are and when I say joining, I mean buying from us, and we're reaching out to them and asking them how they are liking their products. And one of the categories, one of the choices is totally freaking awesome. It's the very top one. And quite honestly, the survey is a little bit skewed into good, right? So we give them like 4 options and only one of them is a bad option. The other ones are really good options, right? But what we're finding is that the vast majority, over 95% of the respondents right now and it's just under 1,000 people. It might even actually be over 1,000 people now have came back with the totally freaking awesome. Our customers love what they're getting. They absolutely love what they're getting. It's one thing for us to talk about loving what we're getting. And it's one thing for us to, get on the rooftops and shout it out, how much we love these products, but our customers are actually really loving the products that they're wearing. But the cool thing is, of those same people that are responding totally freaking awesome, they have no idea who Aaron Bradley is. most of them have never heard of Zaya before this. They're just now learning about it. And so when you think about opportunity, you think about what those next 3 years, those next 5 years look like, it's not a next 3 or 5 months for me. It's a next 3 or 5 years. As I look at it and analyze the business model, and as I analyze the KPIs and the engagement rates that we are seeing in our business, I'm looking ahead 3 to 5 years, not 3 to 5 months. And so we have to think about, like, look, you know, what is it that our customers are really telling us? And the truth is, what they're telling us is they love the products. And if we were willing to ask those people, by the way, this is where I was getting to, because I think this is really important. There were about 75% of the respondents that didn't know that they were eligible to host a party and earn free clothes. They had no idea that they had a Hostess Rewards program available to them. Now, think about that for your own customer base. Do they really know? Have they been contacted? Have they been, you know, reached out to and double checked and followed up and provided that customer service that lets them go, oh yeah, this is awesome. Like, I've really enjoyed what I've gotten. And now she's, you know, showcasing this new bra or these new leggings that are just amazing, these new joggers, whatever. And inviting those individuals to earn that by extending their network to us, by explaining to them how we are different from the traditional brick and mortar prestige activewear brands. And just by explaining that is going to exponentially grow our business. So as we start telling our leadership teams about this particular survey, hey, most of the people that are responding back to us did not know that there was a Hostess Rewards program. Guess what I can tell you? I bet you Megan's already started this process, but making sure that we are focusing in on follow-up. One of the things that I'm focusing on currently, there are 3 basic buckets in our business in terms of success: inviting, hosting, and following up. And so throughout the first 3 months of this year, if you noticed in the January training events on Mondays, we talked a lot about inviting. We talked a lot about, you know, different skill sets that you need to become good at in order to be better at inviting and doing those reach outs. The second thing we talked about in February, it's all been about hosting. Today was a little bit different. We talked about confidence and finding your confidence. It was a fantastic call with Meg Saravino, I think, Meg Saravino, but a really good call. And we talked, though, this whole month about hosting. Next month, it's all about following up. It's all about making sure that our customers know and that we have a rewards program that is in place for them. And so I've been in the channel for a very long time, right? And I've been around a lot of customer rewards programs. Nothing as rich as what Zaya Active is currently offering. And here's what I can tell you. Zaya recognizes this. They see these are the numbers. These are the things that we're hearing about and learning about. If that's true, and they're not quite ready to announce all of their findings, you know, quite frankly, it's probably private, so don't share this, but they're going to start to put their money where their mouth is, right? Wherever the activity is leading them, that's where they're going to incentivize their people. That's where they're going to spend all of their time and their resources. Is, look, we need to do a better job of following up. We need to find ways to engage our teams to do a better job of following up. How are we incentivizing? What are we doing to, you know, help the team grow? And so really, as I will say it on every single call that I do, it's extremely important. And I think that there's a really probable, you know, reason as to why you got on the call tonight. You probably understand your why. But if you don't quite understand it, you need to. It's the most important thing that you can have in this business is we build a business that's based on relationships, that's based on community. People really need to know why you do this. And you do too. Your family needs to know. It needs to be something that's out there. The second thing is we project out a certain kind of attitude. We need to make sure that we're always constantly thinking about the type of attitude that we are projecting out. I have a client right now that went through a really, really rough patch. Her personal health, some worldly issues that were going on. She was really struggling with some things that were happening. And she was projecting some of that out. And her business hit a flatline spot in the midst of Zaya Active. Like, leaders are not hitting flatline moments right now. the people that have their teams, they're having a lot of success right now. And they shouldn't be. And so I wanted to really dig in and find out what it was. And the fact is, she was projecting out some attitudes that weren't really fun to be around. People don't want to be around somebody that's spewing negativity and that's, you know, wanting to share everything in their closet with their entire audience. And so her business kind of slowed down a little bit. And so it's important that we look and think about what it is that we're projecting out from an attitude standpoint. And then we got to make sure that we're actually doing the work. So the thing that I can appreciate about Kristen and about Kim, who I met tonight, about Megan, these people that I've had a chance to work with and learn from, is that they are in fact doing the work. They're the people that are rolling up their sleeves and getting after it. So they're not just talking about inviting. They're not just talking about hosting. They're not just talking about following up. They're actually doing those things. And here's what I will tell you. If ever there was going to be a moment to commit to something for a 90-day period of time, a business venture, this is totally outside of your marriages and things like that, right? That's a whole nother level of commitment, and to your kids and being moms and things like that. But as it relates to a business model, if ever there was a moment to make that 90-day commitment, now is that moment. I will tell you the kinds of numbers that we're expecting to see. I happen to have that kind of 90-day window laid out from the home office, some of the things they're talking about, some of the things they're bringing to the table for all of you to help your businesses, to enhance the opportunities for you and for your customers and for your reps. If I were you, I would be going all in right now and doing extra work. I would be finding more time, more nooks and crannies. I would be doing a little bit more right now. It might feel a little overwhelming. And quite frankly, this business is very cyclical. It's a relationship-based business. Sometimes it takes us up to about 14 connections, contacts, before somebody starts to actually become a customer. That's not to become a rep or even a hostess. 14 connections is research that we've actually done in this channel. It takes about 14 contact points to get a customer. And so it's a very cyclical business, and you might do a lot of work. Say you've set a goal to close out the month of February, and then you're going to really kick it off in March 1 through March 31st. You're going to go all in, and you're going to do all the little things, the daily activities, doing those reach outs, making those lists, finding new ways to expand your network. It might not pay off in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks. It really might not, because it's a very cyclical business, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time for it to come to fruition. I think that Megan could speak to this, and Kristen could speak to this for sure. That's the process that we go through. But if you're willing to go and stick it out for 90 days because of the cyclical nature of our business, it will literally pay huge dividends, more so than any other business model that I know of, and quite frankly, any other business model within the entire channel of Direct Sales. Zaya Active right now is the cat's meow when it comes to this channel, and certainly when it comes to activewear. This is the company that everybody is talking about. This is the company that everybody is researching. And quite frankly, I think this is the company that everybody wants to be a part of. They just need to be invited. They just need to be asked, and they need to be made aware of who we are and what we do. So with that, let me open it up to Q&A, because I could go on and on and on, and I've got like 10 kids, college level, in my house eating. I probably need to get to them at some point.
Anyone have any questions for Sam? Do not be shy. Now's the time before we release him to the college kids. Anyone at all? Anyone? No one?
This is usually the case, Megan. Every time we go to Q&A, everybody's just like, that goes dead quiet. But
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you talk to like the expense income ratio? Like, so if we're looking at like Megan, like how much to get to Megan's level, like how much of my income should I be putting back into my business to continue to grow?
Well, it is a conversation that Megan and I have quite often, but as you're brand new in the business, there's really the amount that I would tell a brand new rep to put back in is zero. It's all time, it's sweat equity. To be truthful, it really just takes your own work and again, that sweat equity, there is a little bit of a difference for Megan, right? One of the things that I want to make sure is very clear, Kim, and it's a great question, and I'm glad that you're thinking about those kinds of things at this point, but everything that we do, we all do stuff, right, from time to time that really works. What we need to challenge ourselves on is, does it duplicate? Do other people within our team, do they do the same thing and get the same result? Because if they're not getting the same result, if you are putting out stuff that might, maybe because of the title or because of the income that you are bringing in, you got to remember, even at the very highest levels, even at these, we have a lot of 6-figure a month earners in our business. They make 6 figures in the thousands, right? It's incredible. But I'm still very, very careful about what they're willing to put out, right? They do put out things for training purposes and for coaching. And that stuff is really important, and they incentivize as well. But the truth is, I want to make sure that everything that's being put out is something that can be duplicated, because it can't just work. There's a lot of things. If you guys said to me tonight that if I joined Zaya and I signed up 10 people and I got a Lamborghini, I don't like Lamborghinis, but I know it's an expensive car. I would get 10 people tonight. I wouldn't quit until I got 10 people. But there's no way that that's a duplicatable process, right? We can't all just keep giving Lamborghinis out. We can't pay that forward. So think about what it is that you're paying forward, what it is that you're investing. Is that something that a brand new rep, if they got started and they hosted their first party, could they do that same thing, in 10 days, or could their people expect to do those same things? That's what duplication really is. It's not what works, but what duplicates. So it's kind of a weird way of answering the question, because I didn't give you any figures or numbers. There's really not a percentage that I would put on you. Megan does have that a little bit. I have to keep that girl in control. No, her business is so big that sometimes we have to put those things in place and think about it. But did that help at all, Kim?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. What other secrets do you want to know?
I have a question. I was going to ask if you have any books that you would recommend.
Man,
off
I
the
have.
top of your head. I know this is an on the spot question. So.
No. This is awesome because I'm Stillness is the Key right now is a big book for me. When I read a book, I don't read the book and then put it on my shelf. I really like to kind of study and apply the different sections of that book. So for this channel, I love Listen Sister. I think it's super good and it helps a lot. I would definitely highly recommend Listen Sister from Wendy Green and Debbie Coder. I would highly recommend Get Over Your Damn Self. It's very bold and up in your face. It's a really good book from Romy Neustadt. And these are really good friends of mine. Interestingly enough, a partner and I, a guy by the name of Buck McMurray, who you'll all meet soon, he and I are about to finish our very first book. So it should be done by the end of this week, if he gets off his butt and finishes the part that he needs to get off and do. And it's going to be really cool. It's very, very well designed specifically around a lot of learnings from Zaya Active, to be quite honest with you. This is kind of the focal point of the book and the trainings. So it's all training based. It will be based in, it's going to be module broken up. It's an ebook, e-learning opportunity. So if you want to really learn about inviting and all of those skill sets inside of that bucket, like doing the reach outs, practicing language and doing some of those things, that kind of information will be available. It's a book based on all of the best practices. So Buck and I have both had the unique opportunity of working around the world with all kinds of different leaders in several different countries. And one thing is true about leadership is it translates extremely well. No matter the language they speak, it just translates. Their activities and their actions very, very much translate. So that's something that is, that's a book for sure. But I am currently.
Look forward to that one.
Yeah. We'll let you know. Trust me, we'll come to this team. It's one of the reasons. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't want to talk about too much, but it's coming.
Yay. That's exciting. Anyone else? Anyone? Well, Sam, we appreciate you taking the time to jump on. I know Kristen and her team are very thankful, and I know you have a busy night with your college kids there. So I appreciate you still willing to get us in, and we will definitely do this again soon.
Yeah, I apologize. I double booked and I had to have that little weird break in the middle of the whole speech, but that normally doesn't happen. But thank you for the opportunity, Kristen, for the invitation, and Megan, and the connection that you've made, and meeting all of you. I look forward to coming back at some point and talking about things on a maybe a little bit more specific scheduled timeline. And I'm usually a little bit better when I have some less commotion and things going on. But
Well, we very much appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. Thank you.
yes. All right. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Kristen, did you want to stay on at all for anything, or? Well, I think people,
No, I mean, I think we can probably wrap it up. I know it's kind of getting late for everybody. I don't know how long people were anticipating to stay on. So unless anybody wants to shout out any questions, is there any more like final questions anybody else wants to, or comments?
I did record this, so I will get it over to Kristen that she can get posted on your guys' team page for any of your reps that weren't able to make the call.
Awesome. I think there's a couple that have already said that they want to watch that. So
Perfect.
thank you.
Yes, no problem. All right. Well, thanks everyone for jumping on.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank
you.
you for organizing. Thanks, guys.
Bye.